I'm going to use exactly $60 or 5,000 rupees to prove to you that India is not poor. It took me 16 days. So I started this journey of trying to use $16 in 30 days in India, and that's covered food, transports, or other minor expenses. But before I explain how using $60 in India made me realize that India is not poor, let me explain to you first how I used the money. So at first, everything went into groceries, and to be really honest, I was using most of the money specifically on food. And unfortunately, on the 16th of August of 2023, I used the last money which I used to buy a meal, which was a rice Manchurian, and this is when I was buying the meal. But to be honest, I wasn't eating in a good way during this whole period, and all I was doing was just trying to have fun using this 5,000 rupees. And though most people, even Indians, could literally tell me it's impossible to live with 5,000 rupees in 30 days, even if it's for food only. Coming back to using this as a proof of India not being a poor country, the simple concept which is going to explain me this is called PPP, or purchasing power parity. To explain it in very simple terms, it just means the same amount of money which you can have in this country might allow you to buy another thing in another country, but on a cheaper price. Which again, if I can explain it in a much easier way, life might be expensive in one country and be cheap in another country. Because if I take it in simple terms, if you have $1,000 in the US and having $1,000 in Congo and having $1,000 in India, there are completely different ways you can use them and being satisfied with that amount of money. For example, the PPP of the US, let's say, is 1, and for China 0.56. That makes that life in China is 44% cheaper than life in the US. And if I can explain that again using India with the PPP of India, if you have 82 lakh Indian rupees in the US, you only need around 25 lakhs to live the exact same lifestyle which you could need in the US. And crazy thing, it's even the same when I tried to compare the PPP of India with the PPP of my country, Congo. With $60 in the USA, there is no way you're using that even for a week. But in India, I could be able to survive with only $60 for 2 good weeks and more days. But why is the PPP of India that good? First of all, it comes to the India's large population, which means there are more people to consume the product. They won't be so expensive because there are more people to consume. Second thing, the economy of India is growing rapid. And third, the labor cost is low in India comparatively to the US. So let's say if you run a restaurant in India, you need to pay less of rent and less your staff, which makes that the food definitely will be cheaper comparatively to running the exact same restaurants in the US or in Congo. Renting the place, paying the people will definitely be much more expensive than it is in India. And this is one of the reasons why I chose and I liked living in India more than so many other countries. I can have access to most best things which could cost more in other countries, and that's how I was able to use $60 or 5,000 Indian rupees in 16 days in India. Thanks so much for being here. Catch you next time.